Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Lens with your host, Jake and Scott. In this week's episode, we are talking about the most anticipated releases in bourbon and whiskey this summer. You've probably seen everyone else's list by now, but it's time to give you our Bourbon Lens take. So sit back and buckle into the latest episode of the Bourbon Lens. Scott, have you survived the coming back from vacation part of life yet?
I'm still trying to survive it.
Yeah. It's always
the catch
the
up
aftermath.
and need a vacation from vacation.
Yeah, it's definitely a tornado coming back from vacation. It's never easy. Even like I was on a staycation a couple weeks ago, and I feel like I came back to a crap storm.
just to turn it off. And I legitimately did. I was pretty proud of myself. I did only check email like once on Wednesday, and then I didn't touch it again.
Nice.
And so it was nice to get away.
Oh, I'm sure. And the weather looked great. Was it hot down there in Hilton Head?
It was hot, but you know, when you got the beach, it's a little bit cooler. But I heard I didn't miss much here.
No.
So that's good.
Satan came out and took a couple farts and just said, hey, it's hot. It's a dry wind today, boys. Suck it up. Yeah, I was outside today shooting hoops just like for 5 minutes, like not anything aggressive. And I like just dripping sweat. I'm like, I'm over this.
Yeah, it seems like summer has just been a heat wave, but that's what we do
it's
here.
Weird. Like it's an arid heat. Like, you know, normally it's like humid. It'll take your breath away. And today was one of those days. But other than that, it has been like punch you in the face heat, not like I can't breathe. So it's definitely interesting. But anywho, the other thing that's interesting is school starts in 2 weeks.
How does that happen? Like,
yeah,
went school supply shopping, shoe shopping, sports shopping. Yeah,
time to get haircuts. Got to get that pre-kindergarten, fifth grade haircut.
Yeah, you gotta time it right, because you don't want to have like the day of or the day before. You gotta
like grow in a little bit. Yeah,
you gotta give it a couple days.
Yeah, I'm thinking that like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that we have really randomly before school starts.
Thursday.
Yeah, that Thursday school start day, random.
Yeah.
Just what we need. We need the kids to go to school for 2 days and then get them out,
And try it again Monday.
Try it again Monday, If all else fails, try again.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? We're going to roll with the punches.
It's going to be a whole new world for you. So that's good.
It is. But we've gotten a little flavor of that. We did Camp Ready 4K. So Jameson has been able to go to school. He's there from 8:45 to 2 o'clock. And so he's getting a flavor of going to class, learning in an area, all of that stuff. So it's been good. It's been interesting because Jameson doesn't have the same advantage Lucas does, having an older brother. And
he's already run the school.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. We have our first kindergarten open house next week. So get to go and see what's happening.
Yeah. Become PTA parents.
Lauren has already signed up. Yeah. So it's interesting. But, this summer has been moving and grooving. It's crazy to think about that we're at the end of summer for kids here in Louisville. But I tell you what, the bourbon release schedule is heating up, and it's heating up in a hurry. And so, here at the end of July, it's always good to kind of think back about what's happened over the last 6 to 8 weeks in the bourbon world, because we're about to hit the busiest time of the year in SO&D, right? August is going to be press release heaven or hell, depending on who you are. For us, hell; for heaven, for all of the, brands getting their information out.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be fast and furious. So make sure you're stayed tuned and locked into the weekly pour. We'll be highlighting all the new news there weekly on Mondays. And if you don't open your email, we're coming back to you on Tuesday. Check out bourbonlens.com. Flipboard. We don't talk about that a lot. Stay locked in on Flipboard. LinkedIn, if you're the professional type, we got a lot of stuff going on, but let's review some of the most outstanding releases for 2025 this summer. I'm going to start with one that we highlighted on Instagram just because I'm hosting right now and chatting the most.
And it's fresh.
It's fresh. because I just poured it. The Bardstown Bourbon Company Distillery Reserve, Hokkaido. So it's the Mizunara finish that they've been talking about for a long time, that extended finish. Very excited to get you a sample of this, but this small format, I really like the Distillery Reserve that they're doing. I also like that they have their new packaging where you can join their club or whatever and get a single barrel and the Cathedral first. And I think the next one will feature the Hokkaido. So this one is great. You know, it's interesting price point, $99.99, but it does have that rich flavor, up to 18-year-old bourbon in it. And so I think this is a great way to start off after the hype that Bardstown Bourbon Company created with that 60 Minutes special that they did earlier this summer.
Well, and I think the cool thing too is they're trying to get it out to more people. At least that's what it seems like to me with the smaller format. So they can, they can double how many bottles they're putting out there. Now you're going to be paying up for it. But if you want access to some of those bottles, they have that club, and you can also line up at the door and hope to get in there. They got 2 locations, so maybe get lucky. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool what they're doing. Obviously, they're like knocking it out of the park with limited releases, and then their Origin series. Like it's hard to go wrong with what everything that Bardstown's doing.
No, they're doing a lot of great stuff. An honorable mention would be the decanter that Green River did for their opening. This elevated wheated bourbon, 130 proof. Tried it at the distillery experience downtown Louisville when it first opened. Really great presentation. I think it's really solid bourbon. For me, I cut it with a little bit of water when I was at the site because it is
for a summer pour. It's a little warm,
but I mean, the presentation in this old jug, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's one you'll like refill and like pour for the fam.
Exactly. So looking at all the million releases that are out there, what would be one that you'd highlight?
Yeah. I mean, I had to like flip through our Flipboard, and I was just like writing notes down because I had forgotten so many. It's like we're not even at a full 2 months of like summer releases. And I think there's probably like 40 different things, which could be, a bad sign, or it could, a sign of fatigue for the consumer. But one of the big ones that I'm excited to try, we're going to have an opportunity this week, is a big milestone for Starlight. So they are releasing their 10-year bourbon.
Yeah.
Which obviously is a huge milestone for them. They've been putting out 4, 5, 6 year, a lot of bourbons, a lot of, finished whiskeys as well. But this one, straight bourbon, 10 years. I think it's Sagumaro barrels. Like, I don't see how it could be bad.
No. And it's going to be really interesting. We've not been to Starlight in quite a while, so it's going to be great to see the guys. Ted, Christian, and Blake, and just get to experience and celebrate with them, right? This is a labor of love for what Ted and the family created there at the distillery, getting Indiana to be a legal distilling location outside of the Seagram's plant, Ross and Squibb. So it's really interesting. And man, the first podcast we did with them right before the world shut down in 2020.
It's been that long. I mean, it's been a world ago.
Yeah. So that's when their bourbon was only 5 years old and it was good then. Cannot wait to try this latest release and get to see some good old friends up there. So be on the lookout. That bottle goes on sale this coming Saturday. This podcast will release in a couple weeks probably. But if you're up in Starlight, give them a check, see if it's still available, because it's going to be a killer bottle, and one you may want to try to get 2 of, because once it's gone, it might not be coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, that's true.
But speaking of Indiana bourbon, I went with Remus came back with the Babe Ruth Reserve. This one is a really interesting medley of high ride bourbons. 2017 had a 49% rye bourbon. The 2016 had a 44% rye bourbon, and the 2017, another one had a 36% rye bourbon. So high rye bourbon mash bill in the Babe Ruth to come back. I do like to see them continue to play in the LTO space with Remus. I think that's where it needs to stay for Remus. Overall, Gatsby, the Remus repeal, the Babe Ruth, because I think they can do a lot of cool things in that offering space that you might not be able to do in the everyday offering. So this one's interesting. I did blind it. Or I didn't blind it. I did taste this through Thursday Thoughts. It didn't score highly, but I think because it's such a unique bourbon, it needs to be drank separate. Like I know I'm all about side by side.
In comparison.
It's really kind of hard to compare because 73% of this is almost rye bourbon or rye whiskey.
It's definitely an interesting set of mash bills for MGP because typically you're thinking 36% rye, 21% rye.
Yeah.
And then 99% corn, like those typical mash bills. So, and is that a finished one?
No, non-finished.
Okay, so it's just a blend.
Just a blend.
Very interesting.
Proof.
I don't know where they're going to go with that series, but it seems like it's gonna have some fun experimental type stuff. Which
I mean, might as well play around with it. You put out good whiskey, might as well elevate it. And this one features mainly 8-year-old bourbon, and it's got a cool presentation. So for the baseball lover, it's cool. If you're a Yankees fan, might be even cooler. So it's something different, something unique.
Yeah, the Babe.
He cursed the Red Sox, but luckily they broke that in the 2000s.
I did watch The Sandlot 4th of July weekend. So
it's a perfect time to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always makes me sick when they go do the spinny ride when they got the chew, and I'm like,
yeah, I could just fast forward through that section.
Yeah, that one makes my stomach queasy, and I don't know really why. I've never done dip or anything, but I'm just like, ugh, that just doesn't look good. Doesn't look appetizing.
A little too realistic.
It is. But keeping going here, I think you have a couple good ones, hidden gems here that people might be on the lookout for.
Yeah, I mean, one that I had an opportunity to try earlier this year, but has expanded their distribution. It's going to be nationally released. Is from Peerless. So Peerless to me kills it on the rise, always kills it. Bourbon's very good, but if I'm comparing the two, I would lean towards the rise. That's just I don't know. It's what they came out with first. It's what I was familiar with. And then, but they're doing their toasted rye, which they're double oaks and their toasted barrel bourbons. I mean, they do finishing really well. So this toasted barrel rye is going to see a broader release, which is incredible. It's one of those ones that it's almost like a dessert pour to me. It's a perfect after dinner, an after dinner whiskey.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that one is just come out and luckily had an opportunity to try. I think it was back in February or March.
Yep.
So that's their second wave of release. It was very successful release of the first jump. So
yeah.
And if you haven't checked out Peerless, I don't think you would really go wrong with most of their single barrels either. They're a little bit higher in price. Even their standard small batch, I think it's $60. But their single barrels are a little bit higher, but they are also unique.
Yeah. And if you can find the double oaked bourbon, you're not going to be upset. I mean,
Coffee,
that double oaked bourbon
chocolate.
is just, it's so different than the Woodford double oaked. It's I think it's Woodford double oak on steroids, really, in all honesty. It just gives you more depth of flavor. And I love Woodford double oak. You've heard us say that a gazillion times on this podcast, our affinity for Woodford double oaked. It's just saying something. The Peerless double oak just ratchets up the flavor. keep it in the small format distilleries, but has a big presence and a big following, kind of like Peerless. Going to head out to Nevada, and a podcast coming up soon with two of our favorite people, Kobe and Ashley. They just released their 5-grain bourbon. So they added oat into the mix. Sample just landed today, locking in on the date for the podcast here soon. But this one I'm excited to try. I'm going to hold off to try this with Colby and Ashley on the podcast. Last year they came out with the innovative just wheat whiskey that was just knock your socks off good. So really excited to see how oat plays into this from a depth of flavor perspective. Oat gives so much body. Like you think about wheat giving like smoothness. I think oat gives so much body and viscosity to the mouthfeel. And the only reason I know that is because our good friend Alan Bishop formerly at Spirits of French Lick, he had oat, and his whiskey always has body to it because he loves the oat from a grain profile.
Yeah, just feels like a chunky, like thick.
Yeah,
yeah. That's 5 grain. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know too many people that are going down that path, but some people have. But they've also done it like they'll say it's 5 grain, but it's actually 4 grains, but 2 of them are malted.
Yeah,
or something like that. Like I think
this is
New Riff
legit.
Did that? Yeah. So this is 5 distinctive grains, and it's all grown on property.
Yeah, a state farm. I mean, it's pretty cool. So we said we were going to do 3 apiece, but I know you have a special one after this last one that you might talk about. Where would you take people to next if they're looking for something unique and interesting this summer?
Yeah, so I went through obviously all the releases, and I wrote down some prices, and I was like, okay, this is getting a little bit crazy. Some of these are like $200, $300, $400, $500, and I'm like, this is not gonna to fly, especially not for my style of whiskey purchasing habits. But always excellent is Wheel Horse. So Wheel Horse is they're essentially like a blendery, I guess you could say. They've got a few lines within their portfolio, but Wheel Horse has come out at a 101 proof. They've got like toasted oak. They've got rum cask finish, like certain things, but they've always done 101 proof. But they just came out with their barrel proof bourbon, and the best part about it is it's $40. So it's always been a really good value. It's distilled at Green River, so it's going to be good whiskey. But they've always been consistently good. We've had an opportunity to try quite a bit of theirs. And yeah, so the barrel proof bourbon just landed week before I left for vacation. So that's going to be one I'm going to dive into soon. And
they're a brand much like Blue Note. I feel like that doesn't get enough love. Blue Note, I think a little bit ago, and it might have been pre-summer, they launched the honey finished rye whiskey. And so, I think there's a lot of cool stuff in the contract partner world coming out of Green River. We think so much about the contract world coming out of Bardstown, but Green River has a lot of good contracts. And whether that's the Row 94 that Dierks Bentley just did with that special barrel, or Wheel Horse like you talked about, or what Blue Note's doing, I think there's a lot of good contract partners coming out of that Owensboro distillery that need to be paid attention to because they're unique. They're still custom mash bills.
Yeah, I mean it's 5 years old, so it's hitting that mark where it's like it's a good quality everyday bourbon. It's something a little bit different. It's something that whenever it's on your bar, people are going to be like, well, what's that? I've never heard of that. Well, good. Have an opportunity to try something a little bit different, off the beaten path. Everybody can say, oh, I've had this whiskey from Kentucky. I've had this big distillery. But if you're looking for something that's just a little bit different, I don't think you can really go wrong with what they're doing.
No, and I think the last one is a family connection. So we have to kind of highlight this last one. We've been talking about it for a long time. I feel like you've been dropping little hints that this is going to happen for years now. And so up in Cincinnati, there's a little distillery called Northern Row. And tell us a little bit about what they just released.
Yeah, so they have it's a brewery and distillery. It's called Northern Row. It's in over the Rhine in Cincinnati, and it's my wife's cousin. So it's her family. And 6 years ago, they started laying down whiskey, and it's finally ready. So they just released it a few weeks back. It's a 6-year bottled in bond. So batch 1, which I think subsequent batches will be about the same 6-year-old bottle. They plan on bottling and bond. I'm sure they're going to have a few line extensions, but it's called Northern Liberties is the whiskey line to distinguish it from the Northern Row beer brands. But I'll be heading up there this weekend, so finally get an opportunity to try it. Not been up to Cincinnati lately, so it's like I'm gonna jump into the distillery and finally sit down with it. I did try it about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and so I mean it's aged a whole nother 2 years, and they finally said it was ready. So
yeah, well, hey, when it's ready, it's ready. It's time. And that's good. One thing I will highlight, because this is a Maine only release, and I got to give Bob a lot of props for this, but Wyoming Whiskey National Parks Acadia. So the first time that Wyoming Whiskey's national parks has gone outside of Wyoming to highlight a national park, they are highlighting Acadia National Park in Maine, and all whiskey will go to the Maine region, and there'll be $10,000 donated to Acadia National Park through that process. So shout out to Bob Cutler. If you're not following Cocktails with Friends, go check that out, because he worked really hard to make that happen along with the people at Edrington and Wyoming Whiskey. And so that's a really cool release, and be on the lookout for national parks out of Wyoming coming soon as well.
Yeah. Wyoming Whiskey's hitting a stride right now. They've got a new blender, and I think they'll start to hit a lot of special releases and cool stuff.
For sure. Well, we really appreciate you all listening to this roundup. Let us know what your favorite releases were this summer in the comments below. Make sure you're liked and subscribed to the Bourbon Lens. We're dropping podcasts, we're dropping Thursday Thoughts, and maybe even a review channel. I don't know if I have free time to do something like that, but there's a lot of whiskey that comes in. Got to talk about it somehow. So we'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Bourbon Lens. Make sure you're connected with Scott and I via social media on Instagram, X, and Facebook. We'd love to connect. And if you're more the professional type, follow us over on LinkedIn. If you want to know more about Bourbon Lens, make sure you're subscribed to our weekly newsletter, The Weekly Pour. For exclusive content and more, check out Patreon. Follow us there at Bourbon Lens. And last but not least, on your favorite podcast listening app, make sure you're subscribed, because every Monday, Scott and I release a podcast, and we would love to have you here listening to the newest features and the newest whiskey news. And until next time, cheers.